podcast is a member of Wild Games Productions.com and D20Radio.com.
Welcome to the Roll Initiative Podcast, the only Advanced Dungeons & Dragons First Edition podcast and superior edition.
The Roll Initiative Podcast, Volume 3, Issue number 105. DM Finn sitting alongside DM Nick.
Hi, everybody.
And DM Will.
What's up?
DM Matt is absent again this week. He's helping out a friend, so we'll just wish him best of luck, and he'll be back next week. Anyway, so what's been going on? Gaming-wise, I've been playing in my face-to-face group every week. And actually, I've taken the first edition group and we split off and we're playing, like I think I spoke about it last week, we were playing BX now instead.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I introduced the group to BX and first they were kind of confused. They're like, what do you mean a dwarf or an elf or a class? Oh, yeah, it's a class. So they're actually kind of really enjoying the fact that they have it. And 2 new people joined the group. So now I have a total of 6 players during the campaign. So, and then we had a fun session this week that ensued in a bunch of hilarity. The characters wound up going into this cave to find out what was plaguing the water source, and then they finally defeated the source of it. But they had they found a dire weasel in there, and they killed it, which almost killed the party. And the dire weasel, they decided to bring it back to town and resurrect it so they can keep it as a pet, which I don't understand what the point of that was. But so they had built a cart with a cage around it, so they were going to pull the weasel around with them and feed it and try to get it to like them. But they didn't have enough gold to build the steel in the cart. The blacksmith was telling them it was 1,000 gold. So they started pimping out the woman elf in the party.
No way.
Yes. This poor guy's wife shows up to play in the game, probably her second time playing the game there. She played first edition a couple weeks ago. Second, she goes to play basic, and her first experience was the group pimping her out to
oh my god,
to use services to repay for the debt that they couldn't.
How old are these people are playing?
They're probably in their 20s, and
oh, okay.
The other part of the group was probably in their 30s. So yeah, it was
good.
It was, yeah, she rolled along with it and laughed, and she said she had a lot of fun at the end. So, you know. Anyway, what about you, Nick?
Little. I have my regular gaming group this past weekend. We did the Hackmaster version of Temple of Elemental Evil.
Oh, cool.
The Temple of Existential Evil, which we've been rolling along on that. And typical of my group, they basically break the adventure.
Yeah.
So, which in this case, they went from the first level of the dungeon, which they pretty much almost all cleared, and they were able to get a whole bunch of magic items basically over in the, I believe, well, in the original was the Earth Temple. This one is some other thing, but very similar. They were able to get all those magic items where the Earth Elementals are. In this one, they're like flesh golems. But they're able to get the whole bunch of magic items in that temple area. Then they went from the first level to the third level.
Oh, wow.
Because they found this, well, okay, spoiler alert, everybody. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. They discovered the tunnel in the tower outside of the temple, which leads to one section of the third level. And they went there. They were able to disbelieve the red dragon illusion. Because they did something smart. They had a magic item with locate object. They were locating dragon poop.
What?
They locating dragon poop. They couldn't find any dragon poop. Therefore, the dragon was not real. So
that's inventive, sure.
I thought that was pretty darn inventive.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, works for me. I'll go with it.
Oh yeah, I'll give it to you.
So they successfully disbelieved the red dragon illusion. They went in there. They ran into the to some one big baddie fighter thief half orc. Which had a ring of spell turning with 5 invisibility spells on it, but one of the characters had a magic sword, and one of the things it could do was locate gems of type and quantity.
Yeah.
The fighter thief,
right?
Even though it was invisible, had this belt with jewels on it. It's like, and he's, in fact, it was the paladin. He's like, oh, he says, where do you think you're going? And the mage in the party goes, web spell. Web's the guy in the corner.
Nice.
Yeah. And, yeah, that was pretty cool because they trapped the mage in the other room with the web spell. He couldn't get out, and they were able to, like, and hilarity ensued. It was just, and they found the big MacGuffin, the orb of elemental thingy, the orb of elemental MacGuffin. So I forget. I'm sorry. I'm so tired. But yeah, it was really fun. We had a good time, and we'll get together sometime after Christmas.
You tired, Nick? Long night?
Yeah, well, we normally don't have a game in December, but this was we had, enough people to show up, so we gamed last night. It was great. Had a good time.
Awesome. What about you, Will?
What about me? What about me? Oh, did a lot of board games this week. Just playing tons of board games. This is the season for board games because board games are usually the biggest sales at the gaming store. So I've been demoing a lot of board games. Mm-hmm. I finished my one Pathfinder group. Finished Rise of the Ruin Lords with disastrous results. They were killed by Karzog, the big boss, at the very end of the last module. They just underestimated his ability, and which just goes to show you can play a D20 game, whether it be Pathfinder or 3.5 or 3.0, and you can have all the greatest things in the world, but all you got to do is fail one save and throw, and it's over.
Yeah, true.
And for 3 people, exactly what happened. They each, it was shocking. The first guy failed a save and throw, got turned to stone. Was he got turned to stone? And it doesn't make a difference. One person rolled a 1, the other people rolled 2s, and they failed the saving throws, and they died instantly.
Man.
Karzog is a nasty foe. He's the big boss of the last module. He's the guy that they're supposed to defeat. He's a Ruin Lord. He's the Ruin Lord of Greed, and they couldn't defeat him. And this is 6 people. All of them are 19th level.
Wow.
They're up to their teeth in magical items, spells. I mean, and half of them were prepared for the fight, but it just was not good enough. You got to make saving throws, and even with all the bonuses they had and all that other crap and everything, they failed to saving throws. 3 died because of spells, and it is what it is. So we ended that campaign on Friday. You know what it is. So now they're on to move on to another campaign. So it's like this. Let's say, well, let's do this all over again. Nah, I said, no, we don't do that then. You died. You failed. The game is over. Karzog lives. That's how it has to be, though.
Yeah, it's understood. I was thinking about taking Second Darkness from Pathfinder and converting it to Basic to see if I could do that.
Second Darkness is an interesting campaign setting. I'm not going to reveal too much about it and everything. Yeah. I am pleased to say that it's the only set of modules in the entire series where you can where you actually don't have to have good characters.
No, it fits perfectly with my group, skinning what they're doing. So we'll do that. Anyway, so let's head on to things. Nick, do we have any stars we want to read this week?
Yeah, we got some 5-star reviews this week. We got 3 of them. And just to remind everybody, you could go over to iTunes, type in Roll for Initiative over at the iTunes store, and you could track us down from there. You could get you could download the podcast from there. You could subscribe, and you can give us some reviews.
And now most of the iPhones and the iTouches and the iPads have that podcast app now.
Yep.
So you don't even
that's cool.
Yeah, you don't even need things special anymore now.
Sweet.
So we had how many reviews? 3?
We had 3 new reviews, and we got our first one from Giada the Lovely.
Giada the Lovely?
Giada the Lovely.
Oh, Giada.
Giada the Lovely.
You mean Giada de Laurentiis? Ooh.
Well, she's definitely lovely then.
Yes.
And she says, great show, 5 stars. Says, hey guys, great show. I love everything you've been doing so far. I have no complaints as you keep me laughing and entertained each week, and you do it for free. Well, thanks. Takes a lot of time to put on a podcast. It sounds great. You guys have done a wonderful job in doing so. I decided to write a review after I saw the last review on here by the butthead who attacked Nick and Vince. Wow, talk about high school. No, wait, junior high crap.
Oh, she said that? Oh, I thought you said that, Nick. She said that?
No, she says this.
Oh, geez. Oh, go ahead. Continue. Sorry.
No, okay. Apparently that person has nothing better to do in their life to pick on the way people say things or how he feels about them. To that moron, these guys do this for free. You have a problem with how Nick talks or how Vince isn't your favorite person, and to others who pick on Will, I say don't listen or fast forward or just plain go away. All in caps. There's no room in the world for people who try to cyberbully and use this tool on iTunes as a place to vent as if it is a blog or something. This spot is for giving fair and honest reviews, not attacking people and putting them down personally because they have a personal vendetta against the people who take time out of their lives to produce a free product. Thanks, guys. Giada, you are now my favorite person. You get 100 experience points.
That was very nice.
You get you minus 50 experience points because I'm supposed to be your favorite person and no one takes my place.
It's Giada, dude.
Nah, I'm good with that. And you know what? It's so funny.
If it's Giada De Laurentiis, I'll be like, yay.
No, listen to this, though. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you what
Giada.
happened this week at the gaming store. And, this is something that really just irks me sometimes with the gamer community. And she hit the point right on the head about maturity and childishness and all the other crap. Right. All it came down to us, and it's funny because remember how we talked about Hackmaster?
Yes.
And we kind of got flack on Hackmaster?
Yeah.
Okay, so this guy comes in, he buys that brown special book of Hackmaster, cost $60 or whatever it was and everything. So I said to him, that's interesting.
The new version of the game?
The new version of the game. So I said, that's interesting, I'm glad you're buying that. And I said, by chance, how do you like it? He says, I absolutely love it, I love it. And he's talking all these great praise and everything. I said, well, how many times have you played it? Oh, I haven't played it yet.
How do you love
and I'm thinking like, what? How can you love it if you haven't played it yet? Oh, is it not the same game? No, it's not. And he says, well, I'll still love it anyway. I said, whatever. I'm just glad he spent $60 and bought the doggone thing. I don't understand people with that mentality. How can it be so great if you never played it?
That's no, I think he thinks it's 4th edition.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. I lost my mind.
Oh, well.
Yeah, he's in for a big surprise.
Well, I told him that it was the new edition, that it was not the one with the parody and everything. He says he knew that. Okay. Well, you just said you loved it, but you haven't played it yet. I'm just trying to understand the logic. I can't get that. My goodness.
You can't
but
love
anyway,
it without playing it.
That was a great review there and everything. I appreciate it. I find it awesome. People are going to talk about me. I mean, let's face the facts. We're all not going to get along in this world. Everyone thinks they're more important than the others. I mean, let's just face it. That's just the way life is.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been called a cyberbully before because of the way I talk and everything. I don't consider myself a cyberbully. I like to challenge people. And if you take that as cyberbullying, well, then you know what? Just like you said, you're a doggone child. Go play with your blocks.
That's because you're a Marine, that's why.
Well, no.
You're a regular bully.
I am a firm believer that if someone has a problem with you, instead of hiding behind the anonymity of the net, just meet the person in person like we did back in the old days. If you got a problem, talk to me.
All right, our second review comes from DM Wannabe. I think I've seen him on the forums.
Yeah.
DM Wannabe.
Yeah.
I think he just joined him. And he says, brought me back into the fold, 5 stars. And DM Wannabe says, I started playing D&D back in the early 80s. After graduating from high school, my playing group split up, and I never thought I would crack a DMG again. Fast forward 25 years, and I stumbled upon this podcast. This is really top-notch podcast with interviews of industry giants, professional recordings, and decades of gaming experience. Wow, he makes it sound really good.
Yeah.
These guys run games at conventions. They review new RPGs and board games. They're not some kid with a mic and a player's handbook. Technically, they have several PhDs. That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
The point is, if you're reading this review, looking for that one podcast that will take you back to your youth, back to a time when you and your friends sat around the table drinking Mountain Dew and eating Cheetos while you were conquering the world one goblin at a time, then this is the podcast to download. Don't just listen to one. Go back and listen to them all. You'll be glad you did. 100 experience points for DM Wannabe.
I don't think Mountain Dew was around back then.
Cheetos?
No, not Cheetos was, but I don't think Mountain Dew was.
Oh, heck yeah.
Was it?
Mountain Dew?
Heck yeah.
I don't remember drinking Mountain Dew back then.
I remember drinking Mountain Dew back in the 80s. Oh, heck yeah. Mountain Dew's been around since, like, the 60s.
Has it? Okay. I didn't remember.
Yeah.
I never remember drinking it, though.
And our last one comes from JB105.
Wait.
What?
No. Let's go back to DM Wannabe. I like that guy.
Oh, so do I.
Let me tell you why I like DM Wannabe. I believe he's a Marine, too. He's a former Marine.
Okay.
Oh, see, there we go, bias.
Just give you a heads up. Okay. Now you can do the next one. Go ahead.
Okay. Just had to throw that in there. Okay.
Oh, and just to let you know, the Mountain Dew formula was invented in the 1940s.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Wow.
okay.
He's taking in for our DM Matt while he's gone. He's acting like almost producer stuff and trying to find things. But our last one is JB105, and he says awesome and 5 stars. And he says, great. I started playing RPGs with D&D 3.5 10 years ago and just started getting into AD&D First Edition. This podcast is really good for people like me trying to learn new things about this game. I just started on issue 1, and I'm quickly catching up. I can't get enough of this show. Mr. Gygax would be proud. Wow. Very high praise, Mr. JB105, or she, or whoever. You get 100 experience points, too.
Wow.
But you want to be just 500 experience points.
Oh, jeez. He's got a lot of issues to catch up on. I mean, that's why we're at 105 officially, but after all the special inserts and the Gen Con specials that we did, it's more like 120, I think.
20, yeah. So have fun with that. But, yeah, listen to them when you can. And glad to hear from everybody on iTunes. And that's all of our star reviews for this week.
Awesome.
Excellent.
And let's head into some sage advice.
Sage advice.
Sage advice this week has been brought to you by DM Will.
Me?
Nah, I'm just kidding. Sage
I
advice.
don't got nothing to say.
Good. For once, you mute your mic. All right. No, I'm kidding.
Thank you. Okay, mute.
Oh.
You can Sage advice. You can write to us rfistaff@gmail.com and ask whatever question you need, and we will try to answer it on the show. Generally, we read almost every email. If not, we just try to answer them as quickly as possible if we feel the person needs an answer right then and there. rfistaff@gmail.com, or you can call us at 570-865-4210, the hotline. Cough.
Cough.
Yeah, hotline cough, right?
I'll say never to cough on here. Mute it when you cough, but there it goes. Call the hotline.
Shut up. First email comes from Turco, and he says, "Hey, fellows. After my group and I are done playing for the evening, as the DM, I hang on to their character sheets." I've seen a lot of DMs do that. "Between adventures, I'll go over the character sheets and sometimes get rid of items if I think they have too much crap. The reason for this is that we play a pretty much loose game and we're just there to have fun. But I at least want to try to maintain some semblance of reasonable encumbrance. And if the characters just start collecting a bunch of useless stuff, things are going to get ridiculous really quickly. I don't mean I'll get rid of things like magical items or weapons, but it's more like, okay, the thief has been carrying around a bag of rocks and a velvet curtain for the last 4 adventures, and she hasn't done a thing with them. I'm going to hand wave it out of the adventure somehow, and then I'll just erase it off the character sheet telling the player it was lost somehow, used, or stolen between adventures. As a DM, am I completely wrong for doing this? Yes. Is there a better way I can rein in the player's collecting habits without having to worry about keeping track of encumbrance down to the gold piece? Nick says yes. We usually don't get together that often and don't have much time to play, so I don't want to bog down our game time with this during the session. I also don't want to just tell them, no, you can't pick that up. No, you can't take that with you. It's just easier and faster for me to just get rid of things between adventures. Thanks for your advice. Turco.
Well,
What was he saying? Now, what was he asking that he was doing wrong again? Because I was confused on what he was saying. What was he saying he was doing wrong, or was he asking what he was doing wrong? What was he doing?
He's basically during the sessions, like he has a couple. Say he plays every 2 weeks or so.
Okay.
He takes the character sheets, he goes over them, and if he sees something like, for example, the thief carrying a bag of rocks around, he erases it off the character sheet. And then if the player says, well, where's my bag of rocks? He said, oh, during that encounter with such and such, they fell on the ground, or somebody stole it from you.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I know. Let Nick go first, because he's
I'm not cool with that either. It really doesn't bog down game time. I know one way.
What's the one way?
That you can, if they want to carry all this stuff, they're going to have to put it in things or have to somehow carry along. Well, whenever they're in a town environment or when opportunity presents itself, this is a good opportunity to sell these things, to find containers to put them in, to buy, carts or wagons, horses or mules to pull these said carts and wagons. It's another good way to have them spend money.
It's also, if your players are picking up things that are just silly, saying, why are you picking that up? Do you really need that? That's what I do. I mean, when players I take the chair, I'm like, why? Oh, because we're going to bring it back. We're going to bring it back to town and sell it. Okay, so once you get to town, you're selling it and getting rid of it. Yes. All right, then take it.
Oh, yeah. My gaming group, my regular gaming group is notorious for, if it's not, even if it is bolted down, they're going to find a way of snatching that thing out of the dungeon and bring it along with them. That's why every time every time they play, one of the first things they do when they're in a town, city, wherever, they're buying a wagon or a cart with some sort of animal to pull said cart. So whenever they get a whole bunch of stuff out of the dungeon, they load it on the cart and they take it back.
And they open up Bob's Discount Furniture.
Well, they sell it all.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
They either sell it all and they're going to say, you know what, this is going to look really good in the castle or keep that we're going to have in the future. I'm like, well, that's if you survive, but hey,
drag this chair
one can dream, right? Thinking about his future. Okay, well, why don't you just worry about that next encounter against an Otyugh or something? How about that?
Oh, jeez, yeah.
But yeah, that's one of the things they could do. They want to take a lot of this crap with them. They're going to have to find containers and ways to bring it with them. That's a good way to have them spend their money.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That's one way. I wouldn't just arbitrarily erase stuff out there. That's just not me. But if he doesn't have a problem of the players with him doing that, then go ahead and do it, man. But that's not my bag, man. It's not how I do it. You know what I'm saying, man?
You can always have monsters during battles snatch things from characters too.
Yeah,
I mean, the kobold will say maybe he sees a shiny thing out of the bag and goes, ooh, grabs it and runs. Yeah,
and he also brought up encumbrance. I don't do the whole encumbrance thing. I just use a little common sense. I'm like, you're not going to carry around a bag of rocks and full plate mail, shield, and a bastard sword, and you're carrying around 5,000 gold and copper pieces. Just not going to happen. Let's use some common sense here.
Exactly. All right. Well, there you go, Turco. Let's see here. Last email comes from John B. He says, I'm a new listener and a new AD&D player. I love the show and I'm trying to catch up. I just heard a show where DM Nick was talking about the Underdark setting. Gee, that's 2 weeks in a row.
Another
Nick.
One.
Yeah. I need, in capital letters, to take a look at this.
Okay.
Is there any new details about it? Also, DM Vince, I like your Mazes and Perils. Well, I guess he's the only one. Well, keep up the good work, and thanks for the good
show. New details. Again, I will say nothing particularly new as of yet. I hope to, over the Christmas break that I'm going to have, talk with my friend Jeff, see if we can come up with any more stuff. Any new stuff, some other things that we could flush out that we already have.
Yeah.
And like I said before, I think if it wasn't last show or the previous one, there might be some legal issues with particular monsters that we use. I'm going to have to look into that. So
Yeah, well, get cracking. People are begging for it.
I know, it's crazy. I honestly didn't expect such a great response. So I'll let my friend Jeff know, and I can't promise anything, but we'll do our best, and
Okay.
I'll keep you apprised of things if anything new develops.
Keep us abreast.
You got it.
All right. Anyway, and that's Sage Advice for this week. We'll head into Table Manners.
Typical. Of all the evil creatures in the world, I'd like to find one with table manners.
What, are you kidding me? I spent years cultivating the worst table manners on the planet.
Table manners.
Okay, folks, Table Manners here. And continuing on with our previous one from Module A1, we're going to do Module Module A2, Secret of the Slaver's Stockade. Boy, that's a mouthful.
That's what you said.
And that was by Harold Johnson and Tom Moldvay. And this is carrying on with the Slave Lord series that started at Gen Con 13 convention as a tournament module. So basically what it comes down to this, to give a synopsis of the module, is from Module A1, if you're continuing from that, they find a map, the player characters find a map to a hidden fortress in the hills, and this fortress is called Fort Strategy. And the venturing party has to get the Fort Strategy. Once they get there, they have to figure out a way how they're going to get inside the fort using stealth without being detected. And this fort has, far as humanoids, you got hobgoblins, a lot of hobgoblins. You got some orcs. You got some goblins.
Yeah.
I think even a few bugbears, if I recall. I just remembered seeing a lot of hobgoblins used as guards. So you have to figure out how you're going to get into the fortress, and by doing so, find out who's in charge of the fortress, and essentially eliminate those who are in the fortress. And with this module, from when I've read through it again, and I have to say, this is probably my second favorite of the four. This one's pretty interesting because
I think it's interesting for the simple fact that it has bathrooms in it.
Yeah. There's a privy in the fort, and
I've never seen a module with latrines in it.
yes, a latrine. But I thought it was interesting that it's somewhat non-linear as far as trying to get into the fort.
It is kind of weird, yeah.
As you the first level is kind of the fort itself, and the player characters, like I said, have to figure out a way with stealth and not being detected how to get in a fort. Because if they do get detected, there are some heavy-duty fortress defenses I'm talking about. And you could pretty much think of your standard medieval defenses, the boiling oil and the portcullises and what have you. So, yeah, if they get discovered, it's going to be a real difficult time. So I would think as a playing character, as the party, you would need some ways like invisibility spell, maybe hiding in shadows, things like that, and somehow get those player characters who can't do those sorts of things into the stockade. But what I found really interesting about this, as the player characters get further into the stockade and actually get into the dungeon level, things take a very interesting turn, particularly with the leaders of the stockade. And I'm talking about there's let me see, there are 5 different leaders of the stockade, and the number one is a fighter magic user by the name of Marquesa. And Marquesa is the overseer of the Fort of the Slave Lords operation here. What's interesting about this character is Marquesa is so twisted and evil that she has taken slaves. And, well, I guess we're going to do spoilers. Let's do it.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert, everyone. She has taken slaves that I guess weren't considered worthy to be on the market, and done certain scientific experiments on them. So she's like their version of Dr. Evil.
Do they have laser beams on their foreheads?
They're freaking lasers on their freaking heads. We don't have sharks. We have sea bass.
Right.
Are they ill-tempered? Okay, sure. So, yeah, you get into a certain area in the dungeon level where the player characters start to discover this. And it's not only interesting, but a very disturbing twist in this whole operation.
Yeah, it was very interesting.
Yeah, I actually thought it was kind of disturbing because you can imagine as a player character party when they get into this sort of thing, they're just thinking, okay, pretty much straight up, okay, we got to go in here, we got to find who the leaders are, eliminate them, and probably release any slaves that are going to be sold. Well, not only did they discover that, but some of these people are being magically altered to be used as
minions, pretty much.
Minions.
Yeah.
And that's later on in the dungeon level. And I thought that was a really cool twist. And I don't think that's anything when they went through this adventure was ever going to expect. And I thought that was very, very cool. And I can imagine being in that tournament and you discover that sort of thing. I bet your jaws dropped. I'm almost willing to bet. But the kind of backtrack a little. So we have Marquesa, who's that fighter magic user who's the leader. They have this fellow who's by the name of Icar. He's the leader of the garrison. There's also an ogre by the name of Executioner.
Yeah.
And he's really, I guess I can say, he's really badass. He's got a really cool bastard sword. Mm-hmm. There's also Gouliet, who is the assistant and apprentice to Marquesa, and Blackthorn. And I like Blackthorn because Blackthorn, is an ogre magi, or is it ogre mage? Ogre magi.
I think ogre magi is later on. I think it's ogre mage.
Yeah, but and he's actually has used the polymorph form. He looks. And it says here, Blackthorn always appears in polymorph form, in this case, as a 7-foot-tall humanoid with gray skin, sparse hair, sunken eyes, and a skeletal, emaciated physique. I'm like, ooh. Who's that dude?
Yeah.
When you run into him. So I thought that was a really cool twist there, using Blackthorn, this ogre magi, as one of the slavers in the Stockades. But they do have a brief section about the tournament section, and I believe Will's going to talk about that. And one thing I like about this module is when they talk about the overland route to get from Highport, from the very first one to Fort Strategy, it's a very brief section. There's like 2 paragraphs in a wilderness encounter table. That's all you need. You don't need a real detail thing as a DM. If you want to do that, absolutely, you can add it. But you can also really just cut to the chase of this too and be right at the fort if you want. So there is just a little blurb about what you can do for the overland encounters. But some of the things that I highlighted about the fort that I thought were really interesting was just some of the interesting encounter areas. There's when you get to the fort, there's one area where they use a haunt.
Yeah.
I love the haunt. And it's in this walkway where the slavers, when they took over this fort, and originally this fort wasn't by them, they actually took this over, I guess, recently in the past several weeks or months or what have you. And there's this section of the front gates, this walkway area, where nobody goes because they believe it's haunted. And you discover if you go in this area, yes, it is. And the haunt is really nasty because it could possess you if it starts, sucking away your points of dexterity when it hits you.
Uh-oh.
So I thought that was a really cool encounter that they put in there. Also, another interesting encounter when when you talk about the Stockade area is there's an encounter with Onkheg. The Onkheg, I believe it's pronounced, and that's around that mudded area in the central courtyard.
You're saying it right, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
I know. Don't worry about it.
I
you know what I found particularly interesting? That one encounter outside it with the escaped slave.
Yes.
With Lady, was it Morwen Elisar? Yeah.
Yes, I'm trying to look that up here.
Page 5. Page 5.
Yes.
It's interesting how the party can try to bring her on as an NPC party member, or she'll become hysterical. Yeah, she's a lady of quality that's dressed in ragged clothes that recently escaped.
Elisar, that's actually lifted from Lord of the Rings, too.
Shh, don't tell.
Oh, okay, well. Because there's no Lord of the Ring references at all in D&D. Never have been.
She has an intense hatred for the former captors and will kill or maim them if the opportunity arises.
Well, heck, get her some armor and a sword. Let her at it.
She'll offer them a large reward if they help her.
Yeah.
So I just found it interesting they threw that in there.
Yeah, it gives them some purpose. You know, not just going there and getting rid of the slavers, but they actually meet up with a slave that's escaped.
I wonder if is there more backstory to her, or
I didn't see any other
else,
backstory to her. It doesn't mean that as any good DM would, they could.
Well, yeah, as a DM, I just maybe thought it tied in somewhere later on, but
not that I'm aware of. As far as the World of Greyhawk campaign setting,
yeah,
doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah, I just thought it was an interesting little add-on to throw in someone of high status quality in there, like a lady.
Right. I thought that was kind of cool too.
Anyway,
so yeah, you got lots of hobgoblins. One other encounter in the main court yard area, or the stockade area, is let's see if I can find this right. There is a encounter with hobgoblins that could go rather nastily because they also using it doesn't say carnivorous apes, but they do use apes as almost like guard dogs. I thought that was kind of interesting, kind of unique.
That is not a bad idea.
Yeah. I also like the Madman's Lair. Mm-hmm. And it's encounter number 16. It was a guy who escaped. He went crazy before he escaped, and he forgot that he was supposed to leave this place. And he's just kind of holed up here, and he's just nuts. But there's a kind of an interesting twist to this guy, because in an encounter not too close by, there's a female slave and her young child. They're hiding there, and this crazy guy sneaks out and gets food for them. So I thought that was an interesting twist to the whole scenario as well. So you have that going on. Later on, within the main stockade section, you see if I can find it. I'm sorry.
They use boggles, too, in the adventure.
Yes, I was going to mention that. They use boggles, and that is...
The boggle layer is on page 23.
Yes.
Which I thought was really cool. I've never really seen them use boggles before.
Yeah, there's actually a section in the stockade where the hobgoblins, they use boggles as kind of like bloodhounds.
Yeah.
To find whoever might be loose, as far as a lost slave or someone trying. And that's where that whole cover comes into play. If you look at the cover right there, I'm like, oh, so that makes sense there, eh?
Just a quickie for them out there. Boggles have rubbery skin and secrete a vicious, non-flammable black oil that is extremely slippery. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, they kind of basically it's the AD&D version of Smeagol.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
So these things going around, it's
oh,
my precious.
Another Lord of the Rings reference.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
That's two, Nick. That's two.
I know. I'm going to have to pay them royalties. They're going to get very, very cross with me.
Jason will be very mad at you right now.
I know. Well, too bad. So yeah, I'm trying to. It's yeah, they use them in the stockade area as well.
Another one I thought that was might be a little disturbing was the torture chamber area.
Yeah, that was a bit disturbing as well, yes. They also use a cloaker in here.
Yeah,
There's room of slaves, and there is a cloaker that is used
I'm gonna talk
as
about
a
him later.
guardian.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about him later. He's pretty cool.
Yeah, but he'll be our monster in the creature feature theater, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought the cloaker was really interestingly used in this. So there's some of the highlights in like the Stockade section. Then you go into the actual dungeon level. The dungeon level gets pretty darn interesting, like when we talk about when you run into the scientific experiments that have been made. And there's a whole section called the caves. And
you glance right over the werewolves, too.
Oh, that's right. There are werewolves. There's like a little bit of everything in this one particular adventure. I think that's why I liked it so much.
They're in cahoots with Blackthorn. That's funny. I just remembered that, yeah.
Yes, Blackthorn, the ogre magi.
Yeah.
But, I wrote down so many different areas of this thing that are so good that, I mean, it's just crazy. Like,
how the character's going to carry out all the money they find in here?
Oh god,
there's a ton of
almost
things.
impossible. I also thought it was where there's beehives in this. There's a beehive with a beekeeper here. That's an interesting encounter.
Well, actually, let me tell you something. That is one of the lamest parts of the module I found so dumb.
What, the beekeep thing?
Yes, it absolutely does not make no doggone sense to me.
No, it doesn't make any sense. I have no idea why it's there.
Why would you put bees and beehives in a dark, deep dungeon?
Honey?
Yeah, I know. Why there?
The bees should have been upstairs.
Maybe Blackthorn likes fresh honey, okay? In the morning, he likes to put it in his tea while he has breakfast.
Maybe they're
Yes,
making
but how are they going to get, a pollen and all that stuff to make honey when they're living in a dungeon?
Well, they have dungeon flowers, didn't you know?
Oh, okay, that explains it.
Actually, if you look in the dungeon level where they're at, it really doesn't make much sense.
No.
Because it's in a really deep area, and I'm trying to figure out how would the bees get out.
Nick, let me ask you this question: Has any of the modules ever made sense the way they place monsters?
No, and it doesn't have to because it's a game about fairies, dragons, and orcs.
Exactly. They've
Okay,
never
so
made
these
sense.
are non-honey producing bees that we can keep in doggone deep, dark dungeons. So then we shouldn't call them bees. We just call them cave bees then.
Will,
Okay, then. That'll work.
What do you always say when people try to rationalize realization in this game? It's just a fantasy.
There's no such thing. I know, and that's my whole point.
Yeah.
you know one encounter I thought that was really cool? The elite goblin barracks.
Yeah.
As the goblin who has that halberd +1. I just think that's the coolest thing, I can just imagine this little goblin with this halberd. It's magical. And just try to, because, the adventure party is like, a bunch of goblins, stab. Oh!
I don't like the picture of the goblin, by the way.
The what?
They're pictures of the goblins. I don't like the pictures of the goblins. They make them,
on the next page, 28?
Yeah, they make them look really weird.
Yeah, they're a little funky looking in that one.
And the Chesty LaRue one over there.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the art was definitely lacking in this module, that's for sure.
I don't know I wonder who did that picture. I don't see his signature on it, do you?
That looks like Willingham's work.
Probably.
I think so.
I mean, not that he's a bad artist. It's just I think his rendition of goblins look weird.
Yeah.
He's a great artist.
That one is, yeah. It's a little bizarre.
I don't know. Whatever. Go on. Continue.
But, gosh, what else here I had written down here? You have wargs. Well, then you have the encounter with Marquesa and her laboratory.
How the hell are you going to carry all this gold, this copper out of there?
I know.
I'm looking at it.
There's a lot of treasure.
Because you know how...
Don't.
Yeah, I know, but you know how character players, yeah.
I'll take it all. I'm going to fill my bag 10,000 copper pieces.
Yeah.
And then you'll have that guy, that DM, say, he'll go through the character sheet, says, you're not taking 10,000 copper pieces. They were stolen by the Boggle.
No, he doesn't do that.
Oh, what was it? In Marquesa's laboratory, I love the cages. Each cage has an owl bear.
Yeah.
That's a lot of owlbears, folks.
That's nasty.
Yeah, that's nasty. Plus the 13 elite goblin guards. So if things go really bad, the goblins release the owlbears and they all attack you. So, this is, in my opinion, this is a room where you let somebody go ahead who's invisible, scout it out, and say, okay, you put the fireball right there. You put the lightning bolt there.
Oh, the lightning bolt will fail, but the fireball would do good, I think.
Yeah, like lightning bolt or something like that. Something that has area effect. That's how I would take care of that thing.
I like
That room is actually very small, even for a fireball, because if you take a look at it, well, 22, I mean, it just depends. I'm looking, well, you know what? I'm sorry, I take that back now. I'm going back to my Pathfinder things, because each room should be 10 by 10, right? So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 50, room 22? That's the lab? I'm sorry.
It's not 10.
Yeah, that's the lab, room 22.
Is it 10?
Yeah, it's 10-foot squares.
Okay.
The dungeon level, 22. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 50 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 by 70. So the fireball will definitely encompass that room.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, fireball's a 20 by 20, I think.
No.
Here we go.
Fireball is 33,000 cubic feet.
Okay.
Nerd. Anyway.
It's math. I don't care.
Yeah.
No, I'll take a look into it and everything. I think the fireball will definitely encompass this room big time.
Yeah. And this is
They'll get
a room, in fact, where there's a map of the caravan routes that goes to where you need to go in Module A3. Assault on the area of the slave.
I like how they have the little subtle hints for A3 on there.
Yes.
Fireball would be a terrible spell then because the map would be destroyed. So don't use fireball in the room.
Let's get off the fireball already. The caves are interesting too, with the thinkers.
Yeah, that's where her cavelings dwell.
I think the Thinker's Cave is pretty interesting, how they have that one girl they're probing in there, the blonde hair, and then the one Ruhr thinking that she's Marquesa.
Yes, she has her double.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, so they're not sure. I guess if Marquesa escapes, she has one of her experiments is a twin. I'm like, ugh. That's kind of creepy in a way. It says if Marquesa has escaped and encountered with the party, they will believe that this elf is Marquesa, since the elf looks exactly like her. Actually, she's one of Marquesa's more successful experiments. Double.
Yeah.
Mini-me.
Do you notice that they invented a new type of armor as well?
Yes.
Stone breastplate made of stone.
A stone breastplate.
Stone plate it's called. AC of 6 they listed as. Well, she has AC of 6, so.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming they don't have her stats, so I'm assuming that's probably going to be an AC of maybe 7 or 8.
Yeah. I'm also looking at that treasure room again. That's a lot.
How are you going to carry that all out?
Well, you leave the copper.
Yeah.
And this is one of those things where if you were playing this, I would like to port over a there's a spell from Hackmaster. It's called Merge Coin Pile, where you can convert lower values to higher values, so you can easily carry them out of the dungeon.
Another thing about the Thinker's Cave, I was just noticing here, Jabber, her lover.
Yeah.
This has a mouth of 6 inches wide with a frog-like tongue and is missing one of his hands, which has been replaced by a bony spear-like formation. That's a little weird.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll just let that one be. It's kind of creepy there. Yeah. So, and there's a Minotaur.
Yeah, just randomly.
Yeah, just throw that back. Minotaur's room. Why not?
Yeah,
so, yeah, this adventure, there's a little bit of everything, and
is it death spell?
I'm looking back on it now. Since we're going through these Slave Lord series, I'm actually kind of wishing I would have used this in my campaign with the kids now, because this one's actually kind of cool.
Did you see the instant death walking through the door if you don't say the name?
Oh, which encounter was that? I missed that.
Secret door, the glyph of warding, on page 34. Did you notice that?
Oh, secret doors. There it is. Yeah, I got it. Okay.
If they don't utter the name, we'll walk into the door. The save versus death rate or die.
Yeah, nice.
That's a little harsh.
Well, what are you gonna do?
The other one's terror, and then there's frost, but death.
There you go.
Glyph of death. You must die. You're Blackleaf. You failed.
Blackleaf, leave the table now.
Yes, just get out. And that's pretty much. And then we have the escape tunnel and the exit.
Yeah, this is a really cool adventure that really sets things up to, at least in my opinion, where you come across those cavelings. If you have I would think a mostly good aligned party, that sort of thing is really going to make it like, man, we thought they were cruel before, but that's just twisted. And you got the other things like what was it? The one escaped slave at the beginning that you're talking about, Elisar.
Yeah.
And the one madman who's taking care of the woman and her child that are hiding out in the stockade. I mean, those are little things that kind of move they add to the plot to where it almost makes it a little more personal. And in fact, you probably could, if you want to make it more personal, maybe, I think we were talking about before, how, I forget, it might have been Will, it might have been you there, Vince, about how you can make it to maybe one of the player characters or several of the player characters' family members have been kidnapped by the slavers.
No, that was Will who said that. That Will said
yeah,
that.
Maybe this woman is one of those, family members. And they're hiding out,
I notice I don't recognize most of the playtesters for this. I mean, Jeff D, obviously, but the rest of them I don't really. Mike Portnow, Skip Williams, I recognize him.
Skip Williams, yeah.
I don't recognize Tom Christensen or Nick Christensen. Must be brothers, maybe. Jim Barber. Do you know Jim Barber? I don't recognize that name.
No.
Don Snow. Sounds like an announcer for a game show or something.
Yeah.
And
but Jeff D and Skip Williams, those are only really ones I
yeah. Art, Jeff D, Errol Otis, Jim Rosloff, and Bill Wilhelm.
Yeah, Rosloff, yeah.
Yeah. But I guess now the characters, if you want to tie it in, can go right to A3 with what they found.
Yeah, and I'll take them to the area of the slave lords.
They have in what, 2 or 3 spots? One spot they could find, I think, a map. The second spots they find some notes written in the kitchen, I think, about it. Mm-hmm. They have to use comprehend languages to figure it out.
One of them is Area 22,
yeah,
which is where Marques's room is.
That's another one.
She has that map.
Yeah, and then there's the one in the kitchen where Wyatt's in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. I thought it was kind of weird. Kind of like what's on the refrigerator, like a note. Go to this area.
Yeah. So there's various ways that they can find out about getting to the area of the slave lords. So it will lead them to A3. So, like I said, it was kind of unique to where the top of the actual stockade part, which is somewhat non-linear, depends on where you go there, where then you go into a linear form in the dungeon level. So I think that's kind of cool. So there you have it.
Well, there's the overall story and feel of that.
Yeah, I like this one. I'm actually thinking about when my one group gets done with the Temple of Elemental Evil. I think I'm going to have them take on the Slavers, the Mega module, because that's for higher levels.
Temple of Elemental, that's T1 through 4, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Oh, that's awesome, because I just scored a T1 in perfect condition for $5.
Yeah, I got the original T1 as well.
Which makes
not a whole lot of differences between those two.
Which is funny because it makes reference of T2 in it. So
yeah,
which never happened.
What are you gonna do?
Anyway, so I guess that's that.
Any other comments from you guys? I like this module. I think it's pretty cool. It's got a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting module. But it has some huge glaring errors in it. I mean, depending on it, we ran it with the tournament side. I mean, it's not really a big deal and everything.
What errors?
You'll notice. Oh, there's just tremendous errors in here.
I saw a lot of typos in a couple spots.
The movement typos was one of the issues and everything like that.
Actual grammar typos. There was one part. There was one of the words said, "If the player adventures is R." I'm like, what?
Yeah. Well, that's hey. That's grammatical stuff. Well,
yeah, but it's stuff like that makes a difference. And, when you play this is what my problem is with this module.
Please tell us, Will.
As a whole.
Please tell us.
It's a good module.
Okay.
There's some things that didn't make sense, like the bees down in the dungeon.
Oh, here we go with the bees.
No, I mean, seriously, it just didn't make no sense there. Just,
Dungeon flowers.
the dungeon is not made for character levels 4 through 7.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit higher, I think.
Oh, very much higher, because some of the creatures in there will definitely destroy a party.
Like the Phantom, for example.
Yeah.
I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want, but are a very particular set of skills. Skills I've acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you. I will look for you. I will find you. And I will kill you.
DM rules.
All right, so today we're going to talk about this module, being a tournament module, and the regular module, depending on how you want to play it. I played both these modules as a tournament module, and I've hosted it many times as a normal module.
Do you run them individually, Will, or the overall big bulk one?
I always ran them individually. I never ran the super module, the Scourge of the Slave Yards. I just didn't care for that module at the time. I preferred them individually because they were so simple, and I didn't feel like I needed to run the super one because I didn't have a need for the backstory when I already created a backstory for the first 4 when they first came out.
Oh, well, yeah, your point didn't matter. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Now, with the tournament module, this module was done a little bit differently tournament-wise. Unlike the first one, where there was, you get special extra points for doing certain actions via characters, this one here really didn't have that option because there's only one place to do scoring. And if you look on page 39, it's going to tell you how to do the scoring adjustments. And remember what I was telling people before. It's not about the number of monsters you kill. It's about how fast and how many rooms you can explore before time expires.
Right.
And it also depends on the number of characters surviving. However, so let's say you had 9 players playing in this module. You encountered 9 areas. That's 405 experience points.
Yeah.
Now, when we mean by numbers of areas encountered, that doesn't mean you open a door, look in, and leave. That is not an encountered area. You have to actually physically go into the room. Do what needs to be done in the room. If there is anything to be done, then you leave. Now, let's say there are no encounters in the room. That's still considered an encountered room. From there on, there are scoring adjustments. This was not in the first module, whereas the DM's discretionary bonus system can be used. In each of the 9 encounter areas, well, there's 9 encountered areas is what I mean. The DM awards +3 to -3 points depending on whether the party resolved the encounter intelligently, quickly, and so on. 3 points for superior play, 2 for excellent play, 1 for good play, 0 for average play, down to 3 for extremely poor play. And it states specifically, this is not the system they did not use at the tournament modules at Gen Con. Unfortunately, my search has been futile. I still cannot find the scoring sheets for the original tournament play rules for these modules. If you all ever can find them, please let me know.
I doubt you're going to find those, Will.
It's extremely difficult. Someone's got to have it out there. I just can't see this scoring system being completely eradicated from the planet. It's just not physically possible. Someone's got to have the rules for that.
You'd have to ask one of the TSR alumni to maybe help you out with that.
So with that said, then, when you look in this module, as you read through it and everything, you'll come across a room or two and everything. I got to ask Max here in a second. Nick.
Max?
Yeah.
What?
What did you call the hill fort again?
I think it was Fort Strategy? Hill Fort Strategy?
It's just hill fort. It's just a hill fort.
No, I thought it was called Fort Strategy.
No, what it did was the thing says Hill Fort Strategy. What they meant is it's the strategy you would use when you run the Hill Fort.
Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see that now.
I thought that was kind of funny and everything, but no, actually that it was kind of confusing when you said Hill Fort Strategy. I said, I don't remember it being called Fort Strategy. I remember saying, but the Hill Fort is a very interesting area and everything, and like I said, this is one of the issues that I have with this module is that it completely overpowers the players.
They should have put the strategy of Hill Fort. That's what they should have put.
That sounds a lot better than
yeah. Anyway,
but it is what it is now,
if you will.
Here, I thought it was the name. Boy, I sound stupid.
I
admit it. I screwed up.
It's another 3-star review bashing you, Nick.
Yes, I totally destroyed somebody's life.
Nick, it's all right. But as I look through this and everything, and that that slave that you run into, the escaped slave.
Yeah, the lady. Yeah.
She's nothing. She's just an old maid. She's penniless. She's worthless.
So she's not really a lady then?
No, she's not. It states that specifically that she's just a penniless maid or whatever.
I thought it said she was dressed and is penniless, not that she is one.
Again?
I thought she said that she's dressed like she's penniless, not that she is penniless.
That's not what I thought I read there. I was just reading on that. That's
I don't know, Nick, am I wrong?
You might have.
Nick?
Well, reading the description, it says, despite her ragged appearance, she seems to be a lady of quality. In parentheses, it says, unfortunately, she's actually a penniless maidservant.
Okay, then I read it wrong.
No. I see how that was confused when you said lady, and yeah, she's actually nothing and everything. So, I mean, you can have her in the party. She's a 0-level character, and you can level her up as a 5 if you wanted to.
So she's basically lying to the party, saying, I'm a lady, I'm going to promise you 100 gold, and they'll be like, oh, cool. And meanwhile, she'll just run away.
Tournament module-wise and playing it as a regular module, there's not too many differences in here and everything. There's a couple, places in there where it says if you use this for the tournament module, ensure, for example, like the Haunt, or was it the Phantom? Either one of those. One of them is at half strength. I believe it's the Haunt.
Yeah.
So you'll notice stuff like that, throughout the thing where it says that if you play this tournament, this is how that particular encounter, will react as the players go in there and so on. The key thing to this, though, is can you actually logically use stealth to get to the dungeon once you go through the fort itself? I mean, we played this a lot of times, and it's practically nearly impossible to not let the fort know, or even let the dungeon denizens below know that there are.
I know there are so many hobgoblins.
There
is.
Top.
It's almost impossible.
And you know what? And if you know what you're getting yourself into, if the players have a way of figuring out, well, we need to go through that fort to figure out where to go, or whatever they need to know, is that to make sure that the characters all have their silence spells, invisibility spells, and everything else. And that's a good thing too, and everything. But what also does that mean is that you may not be able to find all the good magical treasures in there. And that's a good point there. You saw that one room that's heavily laden with treasure. I think that was done purposefully, just to delay the party, to have them argue about leaving it or taking it.
Oh, okay.
Take the most important stuff and go.
Yeah, that's why I said leave the copper pieces.
In tournament module play, loot is irrelevant. Take the magical items and go.
Yeah,
you don't care about the loot.
Take the loot that's magical and move on.
There you go.
That's how we've done it in our tournaments too.
Yes. And in the tournament modules, if it comes to loot, leave it. Now, I got to be very careful in saying that, because I know one tournament module that we ran where we had to have a gem, a particular gem to open the door. Well, we didn't find the gem. We left it. We just went ahead and used all the magical items. So what happened was we did end up finding a gin bottle, and the thief says, please make me a gem. Well, if you're going to word stuff like that, the DM said, is that okay?
Poof, you're a gem.
He became a gem. And guess what? We used him, the gem, to get through the last piece, and we're the ones that finished the module. I thought that was pretty cool.
So the character became a gem. You picked him up. Was he still alive as a gem?
No, he was dead.
Okay, and you used it to get through the door.
To finish the tournament module. So
that's hilarious.
That is funny.
No, so it was just one of those things and everything. Again, now, like I said, this is a tournament. This is a module that was made for tournament play and for regular play. Tournament-wise, I could imagine having 9 people playing in this module. We always had our tournaments at 6 players, but 9 people, that's a lot of people. You need someone to make decisions for the party, and everyone's just going to have to go with it. Yeah, because if you're going to have everyone that argue, well, let's go this way. No, let's do this. Right. Let's cast this spell. Let's do this. I think this is the worst example as we continue with this, as I really think into it and look at all the tournament modules I played and ones that I have created and everything. I think this is one of the worst tournament modules I've ever seen. I think this is one of the worst.
Really?
Yes,
the worst?
As far as tournament play?
Tournament play, yes. 9 people in a tournament module. I just, I guess, what it all boils down to is, can you actually get to the very last piece of the module? With 9 people, if you look at the material in here, and unlike the first module, you'll notice that everything's in blue. There's nothing blacked out.
Yeah.
What does that mean? That there's more stuff to run into. There's more error. There's more room for error. You can't tell me that they can get this portion done in the time allotted, that they're given to do so. They're scoring on a number of encountered rooms. I can't figure out how they can get 9 people through this. This is a huge module.
It is.
It's
it is
huge.
really big. Just the top fort, top part of the fort.
Yeah.
That's a lot of stuff to cover. And like I was saying before, because it's a non-linear format in the top part. So in a tournament, you don't want non-linear. I hate to say it, I know there's some people out there who are cringe when I say this. Generally for tournaments, you want railroading. You need it. You need to keep the people on task, or if they stray off the course somehow or some other way, they're never going to get the task done. They're never going to find what they need to find or whatever.
I should rescind that comment because actually I didn't mean to say it in that sense. When you take a look at, I'm getting too mixed up, at the tournament module, you see how the darkened portions are on the first page?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is for tournament play only.
Yeah.
Now, look at the number of rooms there are. It looks like I can't see there's 25, there's not. How many do you actually see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I'm looking at almost 19 areas right there just on the fort. So when you start this game, all the white areas are excluded, like, 16, 31, excluded. Now, when you get down to the dungeon, that entire cave area is gone.
Right.
Everything is gone. The only rooms that I see that's available in there looks like it's 1 through. No, it's not even that. See where it starts off with the little stairway there?
Yeah.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, maybe 17 rooms down there. So 17, so 35 rooms, roughly about 30 or 35 rooms there to go through this place in a tournament module. That's still a lot with all those encounters.
Well, this module comes in at like 44 pages.
Yeah, but with the room count, that lessens it a lot. It's a huge module. It's huge.
This module's bigger than the rest of them. I know that because I know I have A4 sitting here, and it's only 28 pages. So,
right.
Yeah, I would say this, of all the 4, is probably the biggest challenge because of just the amount of stuff that a party has to go through. If you're looking at it as a tournament adventure, and
go ahead, Nick. Sorry.
Oh no, it's it's nearly impossible. Doesn't mean it can't be done, but it's going to be tough. Like for example, for the tournament, if I was playing it as a tournament adventure, if we knew we had to get in here stealthily, I mean, we'd have to look at everybody's like abilities as far as like thieves, magic items that can create like invisibility, everything that could create some sort of stealth for everybody in the party. We would hope we can have.
Right.
And if not, you know what we would do? Lie. We would say that we're a bunch of slavers, and we'd lie our keisters through this thing.
Well,
that would be one way to go,
Right. Let's look at this here. If you do the tournament module, let's just look at it from this perspective. If you look at the tournament module, we got 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, well, when you look at those areas right there, now understand now the maximum rooms need to be encountered are 9. You may not even need to go down to the dungeon level, to be honest. If you really want the truth, you don't need to. I mean, look at the first room is, I'm sorry, if we take a look at I wouldn't say the stairs. The stairs, there's an escaped slave there. I mean, that's an area, but I don't think that's an encountered room, what they consider an encountered room. Even 3 is not even an encountered room. That's just an area because it's just a drawbridge tunnel, so that doesn't count. 4 and 5, it's a winch room. Now 5, the courtyard, you have to deal with the ant keg.
Yeah.
So that would be an encountered room, I believe is what they're talking about.
Yeah, I think they're talking. Yeah.
Count 2, 3, 4 as encountered rooms because already you're almost halfway through the encountered areas. But definitely 5 because now you're dealing with the ant keg. So how you deal with the ant keg is going to determine, the points and everything. I think that's what they're referring to. I mean, look at like 12. I mean, 12 is a pain in the butt because you're always talking about the boggles, right?
Yeah. The boggles. Yeah.
The parade ground, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm making sure I'm on the right page here. Yeah, 12 has the boggle. There's one boggle there. Mm-hmm. And then 13, you got the inner courtyard, and now you got 12 hobgoblins there. So, and then they got the apes that will come after you there as well. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think that's another encounter area. So, and if you do 13, and I guess most of the other monsters that are in the white rooms are already taken out of there and everything. 14 and 35, 14 is just an entrance corridor. So 14, I wouldn't even consider a room or an encountered area. So it just all depends. And like I said, you might have a better chance there. Now, on the bottom level, like you said, the owlbears, that's a terrible fight.
That's tough.
I really don't know how they could actually accomplish that in there without there being some type of deaths. Because there are 13 elite goblin guards there. As soon as the goblin guards are messed with, they let loose the chain to open the cages to the owlbears. Mm-hmm. You got some problems.
Yeah, you do. That's why I said that's the one where you have somebody who can like sneak in there, look around, and tell the magic is here. This is where you're going to place the fireball.
Yeah.
Wargs at 21. As soon as the characters open the set of double doors that are 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 feet down, the wargs are going to notice you. How could they not notice you unless you put a silence on the door? With the warg, soon as you open those doors and you didn't make any attempt in trying to keep quiet or anything like that and everything, the wargs will howl, notifying everyone in room 22 there's intruders coming. So already they got the. So this is what I'm saying. Already the owlbears probably will be let loose and then sent to combat, the players. So I mean, this is a tough module. This is a very hard module. I think it is overpowered for the tournament level characters, even if you have 9 people.
Yeah.
Have 9 people. I don't know if you all see that, but I definitely see that.
Is there rules in the super module for the tournament as well? I've never looked at it, so I'm curious about that.
I don't recall off the top of my head. I'd have to go look later. I wasn't referencing the super module.
I'm just curious since since Will brought it up about a couple times, so.
Yeah, so we'll have to take a look at that, and maybe when we get done with maybe on the day that we do A4, we could probably bring up more on the super module and compare the two, or just do a whole show just on the differences and the likes of both. But the beehives in room 16, I mean, you did mention those, and I mean, it is kind of funny. But look at what it says there. Burning hands will kill all insects in its area of effect. Or you use sleep, stinging cloud, or pyrotechnics to mobilize all bees in the area effect. Steam will kill the bees on characters as they run back into the steam-filled cavern, which was, 1 back behind, or 2 back behind, wherever it was. So I guess that was there just in case the beekeeper messed up and that was the cheese curing room. Where was the steam room at? Oh, that's 14, the chasm. 14.
Right.
So again, like I said, an interesting room. I'm trying to think if there was anything else here that was kind of weird. Oh, the 18A, that's the trap. That's the net trap. That's nasty. And 18C is the elite goblin barracks.
Yeah, I love that. And the one goblin with that halberd +1, that just cracks me up. I think that's so cool. I mean, he's like the coolest of all the goblins because he's got this magical halberd, man.
Thing is, there's 9 goblins and 9 wargs.
Yeah.
So you can't tell me during combat that one of those goblins ain't going to run to those double doors and run down to 21 and alert everyone else down. This is a killer dungeon. I mean, I honestly do. I mean, have people overcome it? Yes, they did. And like you said, there, Vince, people will have to prepare way ahead of time to do the right thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And on all that preparing, Will, think about this. During the adventure, they're trying to do things carefully and stuff like that.
Right.
Tick-tock, tick-tock,
yes.
tick-tock.
And that's my whole issue with this. I don't know. See, I wish I can actually find the actual rules for this tournament to know. I know they broke it down into sessions. I just want to know how long was each session. They couldn't have been too long for the first one because it wasn't that many areas.
That's probably standard 3 hours. I don't know.
3 hours? I don't think they could have got that done in 3 hours, the second one.
Honestly, yeah, it says how far they penetrate, how many are alive at the end of a 3 hour time limit.
The 3 hour time limit? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is, though, they ran this as 1 or 2 sessions in the day. That's what I'm asking about, sessions. they said parts when I got to find the rules where I read that on how they did the sessions. I don't know how many sessions A2 was. A2 could have been 2 sessions. Tournament start. It's just weird how they did this thing here. Yeah, I can't find it right now at the moment. But yeah, there was a thing here that told you how the sessions were broken down. For the tournament. You know, I don't even know where it's at right there.
Well, actually, I am looking at Wikipedia right here.
Right.
In the publication history, it says the first 2 modules and the first part of the third module serves as the tournament's first round.
Wow, the first round.
While the second part of the third module was the semifinal, and the fourth module was the final round.
So I'd like to know how they broke that down into one round.
So the first 2 modules and part of the third were 1 round?
That's my point.
Wow. Holy cow.
Oh, they did this because that tells me that these things had to be less than 3 hours. Because they didn't run this in one day.
It had to be 1 hour per section. So the first module, 1 hour. Module 2 was 1 hour. And the first half of the third module was hour 3 for the first round. Had to be.
I just can't see people flying through it like this.
I know. That's what I'm reading here.
Used on how they did the tournament, because they're definitely unclear in these modules. They give you, you know who had an interesting tournament,
and it references Jim Bambra for White Dwarf magazine number 33, September 1982. I guess he gave an interview.
Where's that at?
That was the reference that Wikipedia gives about the module. It was in a White Dwarf magazine. They talked about this module. Jim Bambra, it was September 1982. Okay. White Dwarf number 33. And I guess that's where they talk about how they ran the module as far as what parts were used in what rounds.
Okay, let me do this for you right now. You said it's in White Dwarf magazine 83. I will look that up, and on our next
3, it was.
Sorry, what did you say again?
It's a White Dwarf magazine. Hold on a second. Let me get back again.
I'll write this down.
Click on the. Here it is. It was September 1982.
September 1982.
It was White Dwarf number 33, I believe.
33.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make sure I look it up for y'all, and I'll make sure I get back with you and get you some clarification on this. As I said, these modules, when they were developed poorly for tournament play because they don't explain anything and how they're supposed to be run. And as I mentioned before, there's one module which I wish they had followed the rules for that, and that was the Hidden Shrine of Tomoken.
Hidden Shrine of Tomoe-chan, yeah.
Did that perfect. And what was the other one we did? The Secret...
Ghost Tower of Inverness.
Ghost Tower of Inverness. That's another one where they put down everything verbatim on how to do a tournament module and how scoring was done. They did not do this with these 4 sets of modules. That's why I'm disappointed with the tournament portion of these modules.
We actually went over that, I thought, didn't we?
Huh?
We went over that in an earlier episode.
Yeah, we only talked about the first one. The second one changed, though, Vince. They changed the scoring system.
Okay.
The first one, they actually gave you specific things to do to get points. In the second one, A2, they don't have those anymore.
Yeah, they kept it really vague. They said, okay, you got to get, if you want to get max points, you got to get 9 encounters, and then they scale it down from there.
Right. Then they got those DM discretionary points. And then even then, this is not exactly the system used the first time this tournament was run, but should prevent ties. And I'm thinking, like, what is this something they added on to it just to fill it in? And I'm very disappointed with that. And like I said, I am always looking for the actual tournament modules that were run. I like to see how they were done. In any case, if you want to run it as a tournament module, you're going to have to do some serious tweaks to it, change times. It's just like, just like you said, I don't see how they could have ran the first 2 and what you said, the first part of A3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they said the first round was the first 2 modules and the first half of module A3.
I'm shocked at that.
Yeah, I am too. But I guess it depends on what they can. I don't know. It's weird.
I can see a round being 6 hours, which is 2 hours per adventure. I don't think we're going with the typical 3.
And even then, you're cutting it really close.
So now people can understand that the difficulties of running this as a tournament module. I prefer to run this as a full-length module. The playing experience is enjoyable. Another advantage of doing that is the characters will get experience points and level up, whereas if you do the tournament module, they do not level up, just like we covered in the first one. That's one thing I will tell you now. They do not level up in these modules. They stay whatever the NPCs, not the NPCs, but the pre-gens, stay the same level all the way through.
Right.
Leave the loot, take the magical weapons and magical items.
Leave the gun, take the cannolis.
Yeah. But again, like I said, it has its pluses, it has its minuses and everything. Did you all discuss the Minotaur that's in there too as well?
We kind of glanced over it. We said it, but we didn't talk about it.
The Minotaur is in there. Then you got the one caveling that's called Mouth or Mouther or whatever.
Sloth? No, kidding.
The one that doesn't have no arms and no legs. All it is a big mouth on its body or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just one of those things. Yeah, like I said, it is what it is, you know.
Word.
The traps, that's another issue. The magnet traps, the one with the glass balls and everything.
Yeah.
Do you see those traps in there?
Yeah, definitely.
I think those traps were a little overboard considering the forces that are in there. I mean, we got hobgoblins and goblins mostly.
Well, yeah, it was way over, yeah.
I just don't think they would have the intelligence. But again, we're just talking about your stereotypical, I'm a goblin and I smash and eat your kids. Just a thought.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta love those first edition AD&D modules.
Anyway, okay, cool. We'll head into some creature feature next.
Are you saying that I put an abnormal brain into a 7.5-foot long gorilla?
Creature Feature Theater.
It's alive! It's alive!
A2 was the least favorite. Did y'all even talk about the cloaker, or was that coming later?
That's right now, Will.
Yeah.
The creature feature theater, since Will is so impatient, is the cloaker, which we're talking about. I find this creature very, very interesting. The fact that it's a highly intelligent creature and considered an alien.
Yes.
I found
exactly.
it, and also what I found very fascinating about this creature is only a magic user can communicate with it.
Yes, that's all. This is such a weird creature.
It's like a blanket with teeth and claws and a spiked mace tail or Morningstar tail.
A blanket.
Yeah, it looks like a blanket pretty much with like horns and teeth and claws. And basically what it does is tries to wrap itself around a player and bite it. And the damage it does 1d4 plus the unadjusted AC of the victim points of damage. Now, I was looking at that. So 1d4 plus the unadjusted AC.
Yes.
So if his armor class would be a 6, do 6 points of damage on top of the 1d4.
Apparently so.
That's unadjusted, but hey, interesting.
Yeah, because you will not count the dex bonus
Right.
or the
magic, I guess.
No, the magic will count.
Oh, okay.
What they're referring to is if it had a dex bonus, what they're saying is the dex bonus is removed.
Oh,
Okay.
I see, okay. I find it fascinating. His armor class of the creature is 3, but its tail is AC 1. And has its own separate hit points of 16 on top of that before being cut off. Now, another thing about the cloaker, it has emits a subsonic moaning. Mm-hmm. And there's 3 different effects depending on what the creature wants to do. And it can cause them, invokes fear is one of them. So the character save versus spells or run in terror.
Run away!
Yeah, run away. 2 rounds. The third level causes nausea and weakness, very similar to that of the Stinking Cloud spell.
Spew.
And the last intensity is a whole person spell. And it will use it one at a time on the characters at this point to try to get them trapped and, pick away at them close. Basically, what it does, its lowest level, which I kind of skipped over by accident, causes nervousness and unease to all characters within range. It will numb the minds who listen to it for more than 6 consecutive turns, making them zombie-like. This thing gonna scream 6 turns?
Yeah.
That's a long time to scream. I don't know. But it can't scream and attack. And another interesting thing is if the creature's attached to, say, like your party member, and you try to attack him, you're doing damage to the creature and your fellow party member.
Yeah, that's so. How you get this thing off of him?
You kind of stick your sword in between, pry him off. I guess, I don't know. And it has the ability to manipulate shadows, so it'll obscure and kind of hide in the shadows. I found this creature very, very interesting. And also, what I just noticed here, I didn't realize before, was the creature can produce a double of itself.
Yeah, if it's in the shadows, it can make shadow doubles.
Yeah, so it can confuse players. This is a really cool monster to have in the caves.
It's very difficult. It's got so many things it could do.
Yeah, this the hit dice is a 6. That's a little high.
Yeah. Armor class of 3. Overall, 1 for the tail, yeah.
And it's chaotic neutral. Oh, it's crazy and not evil.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So this kind of, I don't know, gives the question, where is this thing from? It sounds like it kind of somehow tied to the demi-plane of Shadow.
But alien though. Why is it alien? Why why only magic users could communicate with it?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Is this one that was put in Monster Manual 2, I believe?
Was it?
I think so.
I don't have
that. It is in the Monster Manual 2.
Does it say who created it?
The creature created by...
I'd be interested to talk to the person who created this. I mean, just even in an email, say, we reviewed the cloaker. I'm just curious, where did you get that creature from?
Yeah, where did the ideal come from? It sounds something like... It sounds something rather influenced by... it is the Monster Manual 2. It sounds like it's influenced by like some of your Jack Vance novels. It's Dying Earth kind of stuff. It just sounds like it can be influenced by that sort of thing. Did you see the technical name for it in the adventure for the cloaker?
No, I think I missed that.
In the actual encounter with the cloaker is also known as the Tenebra Complexor.
The Tenebra Complexor, wow.
Yes, that's its scientific name.
It also states that it's related to another dungeon-dwelling creature known as the Trapper.
Yeah, okay. I could see them working hand in hand together.
Mm-hmm.
But I noticed that
it would be cool to have a room with cloakers, trappers, and lurkers above.
And invisible stalkers.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Well, surprisingly, we talk about the other variants. There are 3 other cloaker variants for the Ravenloft setting. There's one called the Shadow Cloaker, the Resplendent Cloaker, and the Undead Cloaker.
Well, we're talking about 2nd edition at this point, right?
No.
Is this in the Ravenloft module?
No, they're just other variants of cloakers.
And they're in what edition?
Well, it could be 1st edition since Ravenloft is a module. But no, I believe that that would be 2nd edition for those 3.
Yeah, so it doesn't count right now, so...
It does count.
What I'm trying to say is during the time of this module that wasn't out.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
They did cover some other things about that, though. What time? When were these modules created?
In the, Gen Con 13 was 80 what?
80, 81.
No, 80, 81, 79, around there, so, yeah.
Oh, that's not bad.
So, did you find out who created the creature, Nick?
Nothing that I could see on who created it.
All right.
There's nothing in the Monster Manual? Doesn't have the creator on there?
I'm not looking at the Monster Manual itself, but I'm looking up.
The Monster Manual 2 should have a name next to the thing. Hold on. I'll get it.
As Will drops his microphone during the show.
I guess it was made by Harold Johnson.
Harold Johnson, huh?
I think so. I think he made that monster for the adventure. I'm looking at what it says on its little blurb on the D&Dpedia.
Interesting. I guess it wasn't... I'm looking through the Monster Manual 2. I don't know why Will went to go grab it, because I'm just looking through it right now. Yeah, there's the cloaker. The pictures looks like a giant cobra in the picture.
Yeah. I don't know which picture I prefer, the one in the module, or I like the picture of the back on the back of it, their Aero Otis picture of it.
Yeah, that's cool.
I like that. Well, then again, I like all Otis's stuff because it's weird, creepy.
Yeah, it's the same description too. So
I would assume that Harold Johnson or Mulvey made up this creature for the adventure.
That's kind of if it's Mulvey, then we're kind of out of luck for that.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Don't they usually have the names somewhere in the back or something? Or
in the adventure itself, no, it doesn't say who created the creature.
The monster manual, though.
I don't know.
No, it's not even there. So there's another place where I can look.
No big deal. Oh, wait, they include Harold Johnson in the acknowledgments, so maybe he did create that creature.
Yeah, I'm guessing.
And I see that Keith Sutherland's older father, or uncle, David, is in there. No, I'm kidding.
I don't think that's his.
Oh, it's not his uncle? Okay, I thought so. But Tracy Hickman's involved in here, too, so maybe I can ask Tracy about that. He's usually pretty good about answering questions.
Okay. Yeah, maybe Tracy knows.
Or Luke, because he usually asks a lot. He can usually answer a lot of questions. Luke Gygax, that is. Lawrence Schick is in there again. That guy's name's popping up all over the place. Anyway, so that's the creeper.
Cloaker.
I'm sorry, the cloaker.
Creeper.
Creeper.
Hear the creeper.
Because there's the monster in the Mountain Manual 2 right next to it. Right next is the choke creeper, so I said creeper. Which there's no picture of the choke creeper, though. Which picture do you prefer, Will? The one in the Monster Manual 2 of the choker? The choker. Again, there we go. The cloaker.
Actually, I like both of them, but I do like the one in the back of the module that just shows how big it is and how threatening it is.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I like the Otis picture. I think it's pretty cool.
It is. It does give it a bit of that frightful look and everything, but it's old school art. There's nothing wrong with that. I like that.
Yeah.
It definitely is an OGL thing, so it's not a big old thing. I don't know. I just cannot find anything on it. There's only one other source that I could look at that will tell me exactly who created it, and that's provided that they actually put it in their monster book.
Well, maybe if Tracy's listening, maybe he'll get back to us in our Sage Advice section. Who knows? Or you could drop him a line. So,
yeah, it's just amazing that there's nothing out there.
Yeah, I like this creature. It's got a lot of stuff it can do. It's pretty good defenses, and it's just weird. I don't know. It does seem alien, you know.
I like its subsonic attack. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
This would actually be a halfway decent monster on its own as a big bad guy for a relatively low-level adventuring party, too. You know?
Yeah, it could. Yeah, it could. You're right.
Yeah, the only thing that I can see that has made its debut in 1981 in the module Secret of Slayer Stockade by Harold Johnson, Tom Mulvey. That's all they got on it.
Yeah. And then it made it into Monster Manual 2.
Yep. That's it.
So
anyway,
and you figured they have the creation on there by the characteristics and the stats on it, but nothing. It is what it is.
Yep.
It is what it is. So I think that's pretty much going to end the show this week. And, pick up A2. I forgot to end the show how much it usually is. A quick look on... as I bring up the web browser here, a quick look on Amazon will show that A2 is listed as nothing because I can't find it. Nice.
No!
Yeah, I know. Anyway, but what comes up? The A2 iPad.
Well, let's see if you can get it on eBay.
You can.
Yes, there's several out there right now. Looks like it's going for about $13, anywhere up to $18. Actually, I found one as low as $9.95.
That's cool.
So you can bid on it. So on average, looks like $9-10, depending when you get on the bids.
Check this out, Amazon. I just saw there's 30 being offered for $2.50. So you can get it for $2.50 if you just want the module.
And that's auctioning, but on eBay I was talking about. But there are buy it nows. You could do buy it nows. Probably average around $12.
Yeah, The Secret of the Slaver's Stockade Dungeon Module A2 by Harold Johnson, 1981. Import, $250.
Okay, import?
I don't know what the difference between the according to the picture, the colors are different, but I don't know if that's just a camera.
They spell color with a U. There's the difference.
No, I meant the actual color of the module is different.
I know. Well, I'm just saying, the import version from England. Like Valor is spelled with a U.
No. The actual color of the module, Nick.
Okay.
Color, like if something's orange.
I know.
Unless this is the person's camera, but the real one they list is brown, and the one for the import is like a bronzy orange color.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe that's just the person's camera and it's really old. It's just interesting. Yeah, they list the brown one, but there's two different colors here. I don't know why. Or you could buy it brand new for a total of $94.99.
No.
Collectible, $17.
Nah.
That's kind of odd. Why would a collectible be $17 and a brand new $194? That just doesn't.
That makes no sense.
It doesn't make no sense. You're right. Anyway, so that's that, and you could join us next week as we discover why someone made an Amazon list called Old School Renaissance but has Pathfinder listed as the book. I swear to everything it says Old School Renaissance, and the first book there is Pathfinder Core Rulebook.
Okay, then.
Someone's confused or they've been drinking too much.
Or that's just some sick joke. I don't know.
Now, join us next week, and we're going to be going over A3, continuing along this path until we get to A4 to cover it, because people are enjoying the modules as we're doing them.
Yay!
So keep it original, keep it old school, and good night, everybody.
Night, everybody.
See you later.
Roll for initiative.